Hey guys, let's talk about tonight's episode of The Arrow. And usually, the fourth episode into any season, whether it be a new series or an existing series, is a huge episode that will move a storyline or a show forwards. And that is exactly what happened in tonight's episode of The Arrow. It was fantastic. So obviously, we all know that Sarah was killed in the beginning of this season, and at this point, the Arrow and his team have been trying to figure out who killed Sarah. No one more than Laurel, and in this episode, Nyssa comes back and she basically points an arrow at Oliver and says, "Where is Sarah? She left 2 weeks ago, and she came here for the League of Assassin, and we have not seen her since." So we find out that Sarah had been looking for Malcolm Merlin because there were whispers that he had still been alive. Now, Oliver is not aware of this, and he puts two and two together and he realizes that this is probably what his mom was trying to tell him and Thea the night that the car got hit and she was ultimately killed. So, the crazy part about this episode was everybody was kind of working together, but yet not working together. And that's what was so great. So, Nyssa comes to town and she is a woman scorned. She has lost the love of her life and she wants vengeance. So she teams up with Oliver and Diggle and Roy to try to figure out where Malcolm Merlin might be. And they track him down, and Oliver shoots him with an arrow but just sort of grazes him. And this is sort of so that they can put a tracker on him so that they can figure out where he is wherever he goes. And when Laurel finds out about this, she is not pleased. And can I just say on a side note, Laurel in this episode was kind of awesome. And if you notice, there was a scene when she was in, Oliver's little lair there, when she had her jacket off and she was just wearing like a shirt with her sleeves, like no sleeves. And the girl has obviously been working out because you could start to see some definition in her arms, and that was pretty cool to see. Because we definitely know that Laurel is going through a transition in this season. You know, her sister has basically died right in front of her, and she is seeking vengeance just like Nyssa is. And I thought it was a very powerful scene when Nyssa and her were both at the gravesite. And, Nyssa was saying to her, "I loved your sister, and I'm going to do whatever I can to try to figure out who killed her." And then and then Laurel basically tries to rip into her, saying that this is all her fault and she would not be dead if it wasn't for the League of Assassins. And then this was like, "That I gave her that jacket. I loved your sister, and you're not even worthy of wearing that that jacket." And I was like, ooh, harsh but true. So to see how Laurel is taking it to everybody. She takes it to Nyssa. She's not afraid to stand up to her. She takes it to Oliver when Oliver does not kill Malcolm Merlin when he's face to face with him. And obviously, we all know why Oliver's not going to kill him, because he is the father of his sister. So, yeah, Oliver was in between a real rock and a hard place in this episode. So, to see Laurel stand up to him and basically say, "This is what Sarah would want. I can't believe that you're not going to do this. You're not going to kill Malcolm Merlin." She goes to Nyssa and says, "Oliver's not going to do this. You need to be the one to take Malcolm down." And of course, Oliver kind of pretty much believes that Malcolm did not kill Sarah, and he believes that he came back to town for Thea. And even Diggle's like, "Look, dude, he's not a cool guy, so you need to kill him. Or if you're not going to kill him, Nyssa did not take this vow that she would not kill people. So let her do what she's got to do." Because at the end of the day, he still killed Tommy. He killed 500 and something people in Starling City when he had the bomb underneath the ground and it exploded and killed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. So he's not a good guy. We all know that. But at the end of the day, he's Thea's dad. So that is what is holding Oliver back in his vengeance against him. And I know I'm kind of all over the place, but at the end, when Nissa's like ready to leave town, Oliver says, "Look, Malcolm is under my protection. No one from the League of Assassins is allowed to touch him while he's in Starling City. And Nessa's like, you have made an enemy today. And she's like, and I have a good memory or a long memory or something like that. And I was like, oh man, you do not want to mess with Nyssa. And she heads back home to see her father, Ra's al Ghul. And he basically says Oliver has made an enemy of the League of Assassins. So wowza. A whole lot was going on. And Thea lying throughout this whole episode when Oliver kind of gives the half truth to her about Malcolm being alive. Thea's all like, oh, he is? Like, and Oliver's kind of looking at her like, why are you not more shocked than this? So Oliver plays it up like, if he really wanted to do something to you, he would have done it already. And obviously we already know that he has been with Thea these last 6 months. So Thea is fully under Malcolm Merlin's spell and is calling him daddy. And, kind of crazy the way that whole storyline has changed. And so when Nyssa kidnaps Thea to hold her basically ransom up to Malcolm Merlin, then there's this awesome fight ensues between Nyssa and Oliver, and then Malcolm Merlin shows up and he's basically like, look, the three of us need to clear the air here. I did not kill your girlfriend and I did not kill Sarah. Why would I do this? This just doesn't make any sense, and I'm not here to hurt anybody pretty much. And so it was just like things on top of things in this episode, which were really cool things. Roy was obviously trying to make nice with Thea. He was making sure she was safe from Malcolm. And of course, we already know that Thea trusts Malcolm at this point, and she's lying to everybody that she hasn't been with him these last 6 months. So interesting to see her and Roy connect, but not really connect. And, Diggle didn't really play a front seat in this episode, but that's okay because he was more front and center in last week's episode. Again, lots of great stuff in this episode. Felicity obviously showed up at the very end because she's just returning from Central City where she went to visit Barry Allen. And if any of you guys who watch Arrow also watch The Flash and saw last night's episode, you saw that she was in that episode, and it was a really great episode as well. And there was a whole lot going on in this episode, and we also got some flashbacks back to Hong Kong, and we had some really great stuff going on between Amanda and Oliver, and he basically gets this flash drive off of this man that he was told to kill by Amanda. And he finds out this information about a flight that was shot down, and that there was information that she didn't want to get out. So that's why Oliver had to kill this guy. And she's basically like, look, you're out of your depth here, buddy. Like, you don't even know what's really going on. So obviously we're going to find out a lot of stuff with Argus and Oliver and how that all ties into the bigger picture of this landscape that has been created because of Oliver. So some really good stuff there. I was more intrigued this week by the flashbacks than I was in last week's episode. Obviously Oliver's still struggling. He still is trying to go up against Amanda. He's still trying to say, why do I have to kill these people? Like, why am I doing all this stuff just because she says so? And the guy who's basically has to watch him is like, because you got to. Like, we don't get to question these assignments. We just have to play them out. So when Amanda comes, and she looked fierce, she looked really good. When she shows up at the end and starts giving Oliver the what's what, some real good stuff once again. A really good, solid episode. Loved the fight scenes. Loved seeing them all. Love seeing Roy as Speedy. Love seeing Nyssa all dressed up in her badass outfit, and then Oliver in his mask. And unfortunately, Diggle just in a black jacket, He doesn't get to wear a costume. But that was really cool when they were out looking for Malcolm Merlin. And they just kind of like a well-oiled machine. But Nyssa got to Malcolm Merlin first. And I love that as soon as she saw him, she was like, boom, she shot the arrow off. She didn't hesitate because she is just ready to kill this man, whether he really killed Sarah or not. So obviously the investigation is still going to have to continue because Malcolm Merlin isn't actually the one who killed Sarah. And her murderer is still out there. But I thought it was very interesting, again, at the ending with Ra's al Ghul, was that he was basically like, yeah, I don't really care. Sarah wasn't part of us, really. She wasn't really one of us. So I'm not really going to send out a whole bandit looking out for her killer. And then, of course, Nissa's sitting there like, really? Like, this is the love of my life. You just don't even care. So, obviously there's some serious dynamics going on between her and Daddy. But solid episode. I really liked it. Let me know what you guys thought. Yeah, Laurel is starting to become a far more likable character, and that's a good thing. I've already told you many times that I've not been a fan of her, and so far I'm really enjoying this. And I like at the end there where Nyssa shows up at the boxing ring where she's at, or the boxing club, and Laurel's working out, and she's like, "Put your hips into it." And she's like, that's basically where your power comes from. And, it was awesome because she has, obviously we know that she loved Sarah. So I think that she's going to do whatever she can to help and protect Laurel as well. And everybody is still lying to Quentin Lance. And he's still under the impression that Sarah is alive. And he's even calling her at the end of the episode, still getting a voice message. And he's like, how are you? Like, where are you? I'm worried kind of. But yeah, he's still really, really in the dark. So when all this comes to light, yikes, he is not going to be happy. All right, guys, that's it for me. Another solid episode of Arrow, and I hope you liked it as much as I did. I'll see you guys next week, maybe. Is it a new episode next week? I have a feeling it's not. But so maybe I'll see you 2 weeks from now. Okay, bye, guys.